Jason pulled up to the suburban house, double-checking the address on his delivery app. It was just another routine stop on his afternoon route. Drop off the package, snap a photo, and move on. As he approached the front porch, he noticed a young boy standing near the door, clutching a worn-out teddy bear. The child smiled shyly, but Jason's eyes were drawn to something strange on the boy's shirt. At first, he thought it was just a stain, maybe spilled juice or paint. But as he looked closer, his breath caught in his throat. Scrawled across the fabric, in what looked like faded marker, were 3 simple words: "Help me, please." Jason's heart pounded. He glanced around the quiet neighborhood. No signs of distress, no one watching. But the way the boy shifted uncomfortably, the way his little fingers gripped his teddy bear, as if holding on to the only comfort he had, made Jason's gut twist. He crouched down, keeping his voice calm. "Hey, buddy, that's a cool bear you've got there. What's his name?" The boy hesitated, looking back at the door. "Mr. Buttons." His voice was barely a whisper. "Nice name," Jason said, trying to ease the tension. "Did you write that on your shirt?" The boy shook his head quickly. His eyes darted toward the window. Jason followed his gaze. Behind the curtain, a shadow moved. Someone was watching. A cold wave of unease washed over him. He knew he had to act carefully. If this was what he feared, a wrong move could put the boy in even more danger. Jason forced a casual smile and stood up. "Tell you what, Mr. Buttons looks like he could use a new friend. I think I've got a little stuffed dog in my truck. Wanna come check it out?" The boy's fingers twitched against the teddy bear. His lips parted slightly, as if considering the offer. But before he could answer, the front door creaked open. Jason turned slowly, bracing himself. A tall man with tired eyes and an unshaven face stood in the doorway. His gaze flicked between Jason and the boy. "Something wrong?" the man asked, his voice low and edged with suspicion. Jason smiled, keeping his voice light. "Oh, not at all. Just delivering a package. Your son here has great taste in stuffed animals." The man's expression didn't change. He's shy around strangers. His hand landed firmly on the boy's shoulder. Jason noticed how the boy flinched. Just a little, but enough. Something was definitely wrong. Jason gave a small nod, playing it cool. "Got it. Well, I'll just drop this off and be on my way." He set the package down and stepped back, but his mind was already racing. He needed to do something. Walking away didn't feel like an option. As he turned to leave, his phone buzzed in his pocket. An idea struck him. He pulled it out, pretending to check his delivery app. Then, with a quick swipe, he opened his camera and snapped a photo, capturing not just the package, but the boy, the man, and the house number. Piece of evidence. A breadcrumb. If the boy was in trouble, Jason would make sure someone followed the trail. He just had to figure out his next move before it was too late. Jason walked back to his truck, forcing himself not to look rushed. His heart hammered against his ribs. He had seen things before. Kids throwing tantrums, stressed out parents, but this was different. The way the boy flinched, the plea on his shirt, it wasn't normal. Sliding into the driver's seat, he took a deep breath and glanced at the house through the side mirror. The man had shut the door, but the curtain in the front window fluttered slightly, as if someone were peeking out. Jason knew he couldn't just drive away and pretend he hadn't seen anything. He picked up his phone and opened the photo he had taken. The house number was clear. The boy's face, though small in the frame, showed his uncertainty, his silent cry for help. Jason hesitated for only a moment before making a decision. He dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? Jason kept his voice steady. I'm a delivery driver. I just dropped off a package at a house, and something didn't feel right. A little boy had "Help me, please" written on his shirt. He looked scared. And the man with him, Jason exhaled. I don't know, something's off. I took a picture. I have the address. The dispatcher's tone sharpened. What's the address? Jason provided it, then added, I don't want to leave if that kid is in danger. Stay nearby, but don't confront anyone, the dispatcher instructed. Officers are on their way. Jason ended the call but didn't drive off. Instead, he parked a few houses down, pretending to check his deliveries. Minutes crawled by. His fingers drummed against the steering wheel. Then movement. The front door of the house swung open. The man stepped out, his eyes scanning the street. Jason quickly looked away, pretending to fiddle with his phone. The man lingered for a moment before going back inside. A minute later, a small figure appeared at the window. The boy, his hands pressed against the glass. Jason's stomach clenched. Was he hoping for help? Then, in the distance, sirens. 2 police cars turned onto the street, lights flashing. Jason barely exhaled before the cars stopped in front of the house. Officers stepped out, their hands resting on their belts. The front door burst open. The man started to step outside but froze when he saw the officers. One of them called out, Sir, we need to speak with you. Jason watched as the man hesitated, then raised his hands slowly. 2 officers approached while another went inside. Seconds later, Jason saw the little boy step out, holding onto an officer's hand. Relief flooded Jason's chest. The boy was safe. Then, something unexpected happened. As the officer spoke to the man, the boy turned his head and locked eyes with Jason. For a second, neither of them moved. Then, slowly, the boy lifted his small hand and waved. Jason swallowed hard. He nodded back. At that moment, he knew he had done the right thing. He didn't know where the boy would go from here, if he had family, if he would be okay, but at least now he had a chance. Jason put his truck in gear, finally ready to leave. As he drove off, he whispered under his breath, Be safe, kid. And for the first time in a long time, he felt like he had delivered something more important than just a package. He had delivered hope. As Jason drove away, his thoughts remained on the boy. He had done the right thing, but something inside him still felt unsettled. Would the boy be okay? What if the system failed him? Jason had heard too many stories about kids slipping through the cracks. He glanced at his phone, where the photo of the boy and the house remained on his screen. He had delivered hope, but was it enough? The next morning, Jason woke up earlier than usual. He couldn't shake the feeling that he needed to check on the situation. He searched online for any local news, but nothing had been reported. His curiosity turned into determination. He made a decision. He was going back to that neighborhood. When Jason pulled onto the street, the house looked eerily quiet. No police cars. No signs of anything out of the ordinary. It was as if nothing had happened at all. Then, a voice startled him. Hey! You. Jason turned to see a woman in her late 40s standing on the sidewalk, watching him warily. You were here yesterday, she said, crossing her arms. Jason hesitated. Yeah, I was delivering a package. The woman's expression softened. You were the one who called the cops, weren't you? Jason nodded. Do you know what happened? The woman sighed. I lived 2 houses down. I didn't know them well, but I always had a bad feeling about that man. The boy barely spoke. I never saw him outside playing with other kids. Jason's hands clenched into fists. Is he okay? The woman nodded. The police took him. Turns out the man wasn't his father. He had taken the boy from his mother months ago. She'd been searching for him this whole time. Jason's chest tightened. Where is he now? With his mom, she said, smiling for the first time. They reunited last night. I heard she wouldn't stop crying when she saw him. Jason let out a slow breath. Relief washed over him like a wave. The boy was safe. He had a mother who had been looking for him, who loved him. Thank you, Jason said softly, more to himself than to the woman. She gave him a knowing look. Not all heroes wear capes, you know? Jason chuckled. Most of us just wear delivery uniforms. As he walked back to his truck, he felt something deep inside shift. He had always thought of his job as just that, a job. Deliver the package, move on. But yesterday he had delivered something far greater. Not just hope. He had delivered a child back home. And that was something he would never forget. Jason sat in his truck for a long moment, staring at the steering wheel. The boy was safe. That should have been the end of it. Yet, something inside him wouldn't let go. Maybe it was the way the boy had looked at him before waving goodbye. Or maybe it was the realization that if Jason hadn't been the one delivering that package, no one else might have noticed. How many other kids were out there, unseen? He exhaled sharply and shook his head. You're a delivery driver, not a detective. But even as he told himself that, he knew this moment had changed something in him. His shift started in an hour, but instead of heading to the distribution center, he pulled into a coffee shop. As he sipped his drink, he found himself searching online. How to recognize signs of child abuse. What to do if you suspect a child is in danger. Ways to help missing children. For the first time, Jason realized how much he had overlooked in his job. He had always been in and out of neighborhoods, knocking on doors, handing off packages. But how often had he truly seen the people behind those doors? He clicked on a link about missing children cases and scrolled through the faces. Some of them were recent. Others had been missing for years. He felt a knot in his stomach. Then, another idea hit him. He still had the boy's photo, the one he had taken as proof of delivery. What if he hadn't noticed the message on his shirt? What if no one had? Jason quickly searched for missing children reports in his city. When he found a local support group for families of missing kids, he hesitated only for a second before sending them an email. Hi, my name is Jason. I'm a delivery driver. Yesterday, I noticed a boy who had been taken from his mom months ago. Got me thinking, what if more drivers paid attention? We're on the streets every day. We see things most people don't. He paused, then continued. I want to help. After hitting send, he sat back, unsure what would come of it. Maybe nothing, or maybe something bigger. For now, he had packages to deliver. But for the first time, his job felt like more than just a paycheck. Felt like a purpose. A few days passed, but Jason couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed inside him. He went back to his usual delivery route, but now his eyes saw things differently. He paid attention to the people, the houses, the little details he used to ignore. Then, one evening, his phone buzzed. New email, thank you. Jason opened it quickly. Jason, my name is Sarah, and I run a local group for families of missing children. I read your email and I just want to say thank you for paying attention, for caring. We work with volunteers to help locate missing kids, and I think someone like you could make a real difference. If you're interested, I'd love to talk. Jason stared at the screen. His mind flashed back to the boy's small wave, the quiet plea on his shirt. He had saved one child. Maybe he could help more. That weekend, Jason met with Sarah and her team. They shared stories of children who had disappeared, of families still searching, of moments where a single witness, a neighbor, a teacher, a passerby, had made all the difference. You're in neighborhoods every day, Sarah said. Delivery drivers, postal workers, even rideshare drivers. We call you the hidden eyes of the city. If you're willing, we can teach you what to look for, how to report things safely. Jason nodded. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't a cop. But he had a truck, a job that put him in places others overlooked, and now a new sense of purpose. I'm in, he said. From that day on, Jason still delivered packages, but he also delivered something more. Hope, awareness, a second chance for those who needed it most. And though he never saw the little boy again, he carried that memory with him, a reminder that sometimes the smallest actions, like noticing a message on a child's shirt, could change a life forever.